Okay, hello. We're talking about MP battles. I know, insane. Uh, MP battles, there's a big thing that happens, right? With newer players or people in single player coming to MP, etc., etc. They go, big numbers, if I chuck all of this onto this, it will win because it's just a bigger number. Now, not inherently wrong, but there are some cases in which you most likely will win the fight, but you're also more likely going to lose more troops than them. And there's also a chance that you're going to lose the fight because of one little thing. The biggest thing, the biggest factor in all of MP fighting is passive morale damage. Now, let's show you what I mean. So right now, just as a quick little thing, you always want to make sure you have a full back row if your economy can handle it, and you want to make sure you have a full front row with you can find your combat width here, 27 right now. You want to make sure you have a full front row as well to protect that cannon and protect from flanks, and a little bit extra in case like some units get fucked, you have reserves immediately to go in. Now, you would then fill in with the extra units, which is the idea of def stacking kind of thing. You know, you have all the units and it reinforces as needed immediately. No need for micromanagement. But that is not optimal. And we are here for optimal. So, let's go to Poland real quick. I've both given them... Your MP should be a little bit higher, my boy. Given them... that command. Giving them extra cash, extra manpower just for demonstration purposes. Out of these, I'm not going to use the crazy ones, I'm just going to use these boys. Poland, of course, has their fucking crazy cav. And yeah, so we'll just watch this fight quickly, and I'll commentate on it. For this one, you'd take the 3-3-2, obviously. Okay. So first things first, let's go over this. So you've got all your stats here, right? And everyone goes, oh, make sure my general's the one in charge when they come into a fight, yeah? No. The best general, no matter what, even if it's the last army that's coming in, if that last army is a 666 general comes in, it'll take over the battle. It'll start leading the battle. So it doesn't matter in what order, the best one will always be in charge. 90% sure of that. And also, just because these numbers here are the leading army. These numbers here are of this flag. If I then had these fucking Qasim boys come in, this number would stay, all these numbers would stay the same, but one of the Qasim boys would be in there. So you're like, wow, he gets that, right? No. Paradox just decided no, only the front guy gets it. They still have their numbers. They don't get your numbers. They keep theirs. They don't magically just go, oh yeah, let's do military drills and stuff and whatever in the middle of this battle and just become exactly like the Russian. No, that's not how it works. They keep their own stats. These are just your stats. So currently, you know, the Polish have a higher morale. The Russians have a higher disc. Discipline accounts for units lost. Like how much damage you take, or damage dealt, one of the fucking two. It's the most important stat in the game at around this time. Before tech, I think around tech 13 and up, tech 4, yeah, tech 13 and up, disc is the most important stat. Below, still good, but morale is better. Because morale wins fights. It doesn't win casualties, it wins fights initially. Later on, yeah. And I mean, that's all you need initially, because everyone's small enough where if you win one fight, you can push in, take a province, reduce their manpower, which will probably make up for the casualties lost. But, so here, we have the reserves. They have 3.38 morale. It's been like half a day in battle, right? But you have 3.4 morale. These guys, they came in with full morale, but they have 3.38 instead of 3.4. What? What? That's because passive morale damage. All these units, you have 3.3. Ooh. Oh yeah, make a. That's just because of they've taken extra passive or some shit. Doesn't matter. These guys have 3.38 instead of 3.4. Why? Why are these guys who are just sitting back having mojitos on the side lower? Because passive damage. Over time, if they're in the battle, they will lose damage. Doesn't matter if they're fighting in the battle, they're reserves in the battle, they will lose passive damage. And which means, where let's say 7 of these guys go down and this 7 extra reserves come in, they may be coming in at like 2 morale instead of 3.4. So these guys would be like 1.5 times better or like 0.5 times better to fill in, because now these guys have lower morale. They still have the same amount of men in the unit, but they will just stay on the battlefield less because, you know, they've passively been there. They've just fucking annoyed at life, really. And same for the attacking army. Both sides have this. Both sides have the 3 point, like the degrading morale time. Reason being there's different cav here is because cav becomes increasingly worse, but with when you have modifiers like Poland does, it's better to have an extra 10k in here. As you can see, it's already made the difference. Well, it's not really. That's just because their morale is lower. Yeah, so the morale bar here is the highest in the battle, so you will start lower because, you know, you have a lower morale. So that's why there might be already be red when a battle starts. But yeah, so as we let this battle tick on, 1k, that's probably just because, yeah, the 0. That was decent rolls there. Again, 3.29, 3.75. They're both lost about whatever, 1 1 or 2 1, or fucking numbers aren't working with my head right now. Alright, check back later. So this is after, what, 4 days in battle? So it's like 0.05 a day or something, or a tick. Some shit like that. I don't remember the exact numbers. So, and the worst part is, right, if you see, look down the numbers there, you can even check the stats of these motherfuckers, of like specific boys in there, by hovering over. Let's get to the end of the battle. Oh, that's an unlucky 0. This cannon line is actually retreating. Yeah, they retreated because morale damage. That's another reason why you have morale defense on your... That's the reason why you'd pick morale defense over like this, because they are taking passive morale damage. And I think that affects how slow you lose it. So that's weird that actually they lost that. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that. But yeah, so with this, I'll probably do another video on that, because, or I'll figure out what's going wrong and just make a comment about it. But yeah, so you retreated, you have the first flank now. Let's come in. What the fuck? So where are these reinforcements? I assume on the flanks? Yeah, so they came in at 2.33 morale compared to 3.4. If you had one of these armies coming in, which you'll notice have no cannon, because... Yeah, okay, that's why. Because you're meant to reinforce by about the 25% mark, by 30-40% mark with these guys, because that's about when your army starts to break. So you want to get in there with those, reinforce the front line, and you should be Gucci. So we'll let this battle end. Yeah, okay, these guys lose. And yeah, so the front line started breaking there just a wee bit, and the battle was lost. As you see, the passive morale damage. Now, Poland should win that fight 9 out of 10 times. No, what? 9 out of 10? 6 out of 10 times? Just because of the morale? 7 out of 10? 7 out of 10. We'll just get the manpower back up quickly. And we'll get the reinforcements ready. Now you may be like, why did Poland have no many? Because I'm already over force limit as is. You should go over force limit if you need to, by however much you need to win the war. But currently, you know... Oh, I shouldn't have done that now. We have to wait an extra fucking 10 months. No, that's fine. They're reserve troops. So, this is a very poor... I don't care about rebels. Very poor showing because, you know, you just march in on here, get the extra advantage, as you could maybe find out in a moment. So you want to make sure secondary armies have generals on them, just so that way they move faster. Like get to the battle faster, or maybe take over if they're better, etc, etc. Seeing as this is a grass one, a plains battle, no negatives, you don't need high maneuver. It's really kind of wasted. And then this guy, unfortunately, no maneuver pip. So, coming in, you want to make sure you consolidate before the fight starts, and you're like, okay, oh shit, it's on 5 speed. We've already got the Russians coming in, so you're like, okay, front line's about to break. Then, look at that, front line was about to break, now they've got the reinforcements in there, and they'll take over in like the next few days of battle. These guys were a little bit slow. Now you keep fighting, keep fighting. So even though the cannon is at 0 morale, wait, it's all at 0 morale? Yo, we learn new shit. All the cannons at 0 morale, but it's not retreated. That's wacky. That's whack. Whoa, that's weird. So yeah, I think the Polish should lose here, mainly because these guys weren't here on time. The Russians... How did you... Oh, just because they haven't... They reinforced, but they took so much morale damage. Yeah, I reinforced. This is such a bad fight by me, and I was controlling it. Alright, they were able to get in there, but they lost the front line, so all the cannon immediately retreated. And that's the loss right there, because of bad reinforcing. Now, the Russians had more men, but they lost. Why? Well, let's just play it out here. There's no way they don't lose, because, yeah. They lost. Why? Well, because they didn't reinforce properly. It's really as simple as that. Their morale was beaten because it drained away on the secondary thing. Like, it drained away on the back line, on the cannon, right? And as soon as they lost that front line, they lost the fight, because all the cannon disappeared, all the extra damage disappeared, all the extra morale damage on the enemy troops disappeared, so the enemy troops were like, well, we're not getting shot by cannons anymore, don't see really a point to run, we just gotta kill these guys, easy win. And so yeah, it was a lot less morale damage occurring, which meant the enemy troops weren't losing as much compared to yours, and like the Polish troops weren't losing as much compared to the Russian, therefore they stayed longer. Now you can push in with the Polish. Basically, yeah, you just got to make sure you're reinforcing on time. If the Russians had to reinforce there, properly, instead of me monkey braining that shit, they would have won that fight easy peasy. Well, not easy peasy, but they would have won that fight most likely. Morale is such a factor at this point in the game, and it's overlooked by a lot of people. Also, these Polish troops were getting a -1 from crossing this river into here. Like, the secondary Polish troops were getting a -1. So, the Russians really should have won this fight. But they didn't. Maybe because of bad dice rolls, most likely because they just didn't reinforce in time. Like, they all... Like, the third reinforcement, if they had got in there fast enough, that fight was easy won. Easy won. Easy. But they didn't. And so that's why, if you throw 2 death stacks at each other, about 60% of your fucking front line won't even fight. They'll just evaporate and retreat as they're told to go up to the front. They might even retreat before they even get told to go up to the front. So just make sure you're splitting stacks. You've got a cannon, you've got a full back line, a full front line with a little bit extra for a little bit of leeway, and then you're reinforcing on time, on time, on time. Slow it down for those fights. AI are starting to do this, so props to Paradox. A lot of players aren't. A lot of players just chuck everything in immediately. So, yeah. The Russians would, however, normally would 100% win this because they've got an extra, like, 60k manpower. They've got an extra fucking, like, 80k force limit, which means they can reinforce way more and then push in and siege way more, causing more economic damage, more manpower damage, more everything. Yeah! Cool! Woo! Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This hurts me. Why is historical so unmeta? Bruh. I feel ashamed. And,